Hello all and welcome to Tom's Gaming World episode 13. So on today's episode we're going to look at some of the games. Oh, I've got hiccups. I'm going to do this with hiccups, okay? So excuse me, but I might hiccup through this video. So first of all we're going to look at a PS4 game I've been playing a bit lately. So this is Fire Pro Wrestling World for PS4. It's my character Tommy Paradise. And I just thought I'd show you a little bit of this game because when I first tried to play this, now I heard it's a very good wrestling game. When I first tried to play this, I really struggled because it doesn't really have any sort of tutorial. So I just wanted to talk about the game a little bit. You push into your opponent to grapple. There's no grapple button, so just push into the guy and press one of the buttons. You know, you've got a square is the sort of slap attack here. Triangles you run. Circle's like I think a heavier sort of attack. And then you've got this on X. So there's your moves. What's also interesting about this game is if you hold down R1 you sort of move, they call this the 3D button, so you can move around your opponent. If you hold it down you can sort of move around him like this. So hold that R1 button down and push the stick in right or left and he'll just spin around. So what do I think of this game? I think has the potential to be really good. It's just you've got to get to grips with it, and you can't play it like you would normal wrestling games. You've got to learn it. It was very hard for me not to press circle to grapple, having played a lot of the WWE 2K wrestling games. Oh, we're going to get him. I'll show you what a pin's like, so you can try and pin him with R2. Of course he won't go for a 3 count here. But basically that's Fire Pro Wrestling World, PS4. It was on sale recently for $11.99, which was a heck of a lot cheaper than what originally came out of. It was around the £50 mark originally, which was crazy because I can't imagine many people would want to spend £50 on a game that does look dated. I mean, it doesn't really matter how a game looks in my opinion as long as it plays well. Well, it's square and push forward to get back into the ring, by the way. It does matter what a game looks like, but it doesn't matter if a game looks older than the modern generation. What matters if it plays well, and this game does play well. It's also R1 to, I think, is it R1 to drag your opponent once they're on the ground? I'll try that. You have to get him over first. Right. Okay. Yeah, R1 will drag him, so you can drag him to where you want, so if you want to climb the turnbuckle, which I haven't quite worked out yet. You can do like a flying splash type move, forgive my wrestling terminology. But there you go, Fire Pro Wrestling World for the PS4. I thought you might like to have a little look at this game I've been playing a bit recently. So you may be interested in seeing what other games I've been playing lately. We're going to start with some original Xbox games. Actually only one of these I've actually been playing, the other 3 are ones I want to have a go at, and maybe next week we'll see a bit of them. So I'll start with the ones I've got here that I want to play. I pulled out WrestleMania 21 to play, another wrestling game. I've heard this one isn't so good. It was cheap and I wanted to try it. XBM magazine gives it a 9 out of 10 there, so we'll try that one out. That one isn't 360 backwards compatible, so can't play that in your 360, you have to use your original Xbox for that. This one is backwards compatible original Xbox. It's Brute Force, and developed by Digital Anvil and published by Microsoft Game Studios. Been curious about this. They made a big fuss about this game at the time. Let's see if it's any good. And Death Row. This was a game had recommended to me. I can't remember where exactly, but published by Ubisoft, developed by South End. Is that? This is the uncensored version with full blood, full swearing and full violence. So this should be very interesting. I think it's like a future sport, sort of like a rollerball kind of type game, if you know that film. So again, that's an Xbox exclusive, as have been the other 3 games. So the only, and that's playable on Xbox 360 too. But the one I've been playing has been Quantum Redshift, which is a cool futuristic racer. This is compatible with Xbox 360. I've actually been playing it on the original Xbox. I didn't realise that it was backwards compatible, but it is. So we'll take a look at that. Okay, so in case you're wondering why that last bit was in the dark, this is because I'm filming off the TV, as you can see. And you really wouldn't be able to see anything if I kept the blinds open. So to save me unrolling the blinds up and down, you got me in a bit of darkness there. So I hope you won't judge me too harshly for that. Anyhow, we're here to play a bit of Quantum Redshift. And it's the first time I've played it on the 360 as opposed to original Xbox. There's a few graphical glitches up in the right hand side corner, but hopefully there won't be too much to affect the gameplay. So this game is actually rather good. There's an emphasis on rivalry, so they do establish some of your rivals here. Our nemesis is Alicia. So your right trigger is accelerate. It feels a lot like most of the futuristic racing games, but this landscape at least reminds me a bit of Star Wars Episode 1 Racer. So you just see I picked up some sort of power up there. And that was a yellow power up, so that's a shield power up. Those are activated by Y. So if someone was going to attack me now, I just press Y and I will block that attack. You've got a boost on A, which I've already used. It's a limited boost. This is a homing attack, so I'm in first minute, so I don't need it. But when Alicia overtakes me, I will be using that. Also, this is a regular sort of attack that doesn't home. Attack warning, so put up my shield there. So I do like the mechanics of this game. Oops. So I was a little bit too close to Alicia then to use my homing attack successfully, but there we go, I just used my regular attack in her there. So this game also has shortcuts, so you'll find you might struggle to win the races until you know the tracks. I haven't got a shield there, so I got hit. So yeah, bear that in mind. You might not win the tracks first go playing, but you do get points after the race, so you can use those points to power up your ship, so next time you might have a bit more boost or a bit more I'm not sure how the weapon power-ups work, but you can upgrade your weapons, but you always use the same weapons, so I'm not sure if they do more damage or they hold the opponent for longer. So if they get hit by a homing missile, they are out of action for a little bit longer if you upgrade your weapon. Not 100% sure how that bit works, but there's the boost, so you get a bit of boost once per round, so it's a little bit like F-Zero in that respect. So it's an amalgamation really of a lot of the futuristic races that were available around the same time. I'm gonna get hit again. Nope, I had a bit of shield, so that's fine. So I was meant to go left there, because this is a shortcut basically. Normally when I was first playing it, I was going through the middle bit and finding that I was never winning any of the races. So you might find, especially at the beginning here before we're powered up, you really have to take advantage of the shortcuts. I will also say that this Xbox 360 pad is a lot easier to use than the wireless original Xbox pad I've been using, so that's interesting. So there we go. That may be because I've played it a bit, but when I first played this I could not beat the first race on my first try. But it's a very playable game, and I would totally recommend Quantum Redshift. It's not an expensive game, and as you can see here it's backwards compatible Xbox 360, but not Xbox One, sadly. You can see your points. Got some cash now. I don't know if that'll be enough cash to upgrade. It is a bit, so I like to upgrade the turbo. So that gives me a bit more turbo charge. And the shield's also a good upgrade thing to do, because that'll mean you don't have to be so precise with your timing when pressing Y to shield your vehicle. A little sunnier in here. I'm going to talk a little bit about what I've been playing on the Switch. So continuing on from last week, I've been enjoying a lot of Switch games using the Nintendo Pro Controller, which is fantastic, and I've been continuing to use that on these games also. So what I've been playing this week is Battlesloths. So I mentioned Battlesloths last week, and what it is a really cool multiplayer focused arena type battle game from a top down view, like Bomberman for instance. But it's not like Bomberman exactly. Basically you start off in the top left hand corner, usually if you're player 1, and your goal is to defeat the other sloths, in this case coming out in the bottom right hand corner. So you have various mission objectives, or variable mission objectives, shall I say. So sometimes it's just kill all the sloths, sometimes it's kill the sloth, get a piece of pizza, take it back to your base, collect so many pieces of pizza, and then you win the game. So I've been playing through the single player mode. So I didn't talk about it last week because I got the impression it was more of a multiplayer game. Now for those who want to play Battlesloths single player, you do have that option. I don't think it's a game you should probably get if you only intend to play it single player. It's definitely been created to be played as a multiplayer game, and I can imagine being a lot of fun, and I'm really looking forward to actually playing a multiplayer game of Battlesloths. First of all, I like the style of it, I like the concept of it. I like the designs of the sloths. There's an emphasis on customising your sloth, giving them a different hat, so that'll be a fun thing when you play multiplayer, to get everybody looking a bit different. I guess the sloth loves pizza. I'm not sure why pizza was chosen, but maybe as a bit of a homage to Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles perhaps, I'm not sure about that. But any sort of game where you're playing as animals with weapons, it seems like a bit of a trend in popular culture. I would quite enjoy them normally. Taking something like a sloth and transposing it into this sort of war zone type scenario is quite humorous, and the game actually plays pretty well. You've got the left stick to move your sloth around and the right stick to aim your weapon. I think you're firing with the right trigger or bumper button, can't remember exactly which. And also you've got like a hoverboard on the other right trigger or bumper button, I forget. So you can fire off some shots, then zip away and dodge your opponents, and yeah, everything feels pretty tight. And there are various weapons that you can use, like machine guns or rocket launchers or laser guns, and it's just a bit of light-hearted fun. It's well made, it's a pretty simple concept, but it works very well. So that's Battlesloths. Next up, a rather cool horizontal side-scrolling shooter you might enjoy is Q-Yo Blaster. Now I had to look down at my Switch set to remind me of the title, because it's not the most memorable video game title. This is really fun, but pretty straightforward. What makes this game stand out though is its graphics. Its pixel graphics are fantastic, and also its pixel animation. The animation in this game is incredibly smooth. I like the backgrounds, I like the characters. Here you'll see me playing this little flying robot. The enemies are cool. The variety of attacks is quite nice as well. You have a standard shot, or you have a rapid fire shot if you pick up that power up. But you also have, I think it's called Fuse, where if you build up this meter through defeating enemies, you'll be able to destroy everything on the screen and get more sort of bonuses in order to power up your meter again. You've also got sort of a heavy attack that you can build up and then use that to destroy more dangerous enemies. Bosses are fun. I know there's something incredibly appealing about this game. To me, visually, I think it's really cool, and the music's pretty good as well. It was incredibly affordable when I picked it up in a sale a couple of weeks ago now. So I still think it's a reasonably inexpensive game. You've got a bunch of characters you can choose from. The gameplay itself, I find as someone who's not a pro at horizontal shooters, it to be very accessible. And I got reasonably far into the game. I haven't finished it, but there's definitely enough there, I think, personally, to keep you entertained. Bosses come thick and fast. You don't have to defeat a lot of enemies to get to the boss to move on to the next stage, so it never feels samey really in terms of the gameplay is samey, but the actual visuals and the rate you progress through the levels always keeps things interesting for me. But the gameplay is solid and fun, and so for me it's another great pick up and play game for the Switch. So the last game I'm going to talk about here is Spirit Sphere EX. That's Spirit Sphere EX. I'm so glad my hiccups have gone now, by the way. Makes talking about games a little easier. Spirit Sphere, I can't say it because of a slight lisp, is a tennis game, but it's like Zelda. If you were to cross Zelda, I'm talking about Link to the Past here, or Link's Awakening style top-down Zelda, with a tennis game, basically. So you slash your sword as Link would, or you power up your sword again as Link would for a stronger shot, and you're bouncing this Spirit Sphere back and forth trying to score points by getting it to the back of the other opponent's area. And there's power-ups you can pick up along the way to either make your character larger, or you can get a bow and arrow to attack the other character from afar, helping your chances of scoring. And also you can put a spin on your attack. That would be your strong attack. You can put a spin on that to enable you to try and get the upper hand over your opponent. There's a variety of different matches along the way. As playing to the single player, again, this would be better as a multiplayer, I think. You can get to do a bit of squash as well at one point, so that's just a little new thing you have to learn along the way. The arenas are different shapes and sizes, so that's cool, and that shakes things up a bit. It changes the strategies that you have to employ to succeed. But I think it's really good. You get to choose from a bunch of characters, and again, pretty nice graphics, very nice music, I will point out as well, so do pay special attention to the music because it's got a good soundtrack. So again, like the other games, it was quite affordable when I picked it up. It was again in a sale, so I'm pretty sure it's a relatively cheap game as well. So if you're looking for a tennis type game with a twist and you like Zelda, then I think this is one I can definitely recommend to you. So that's what I've been playing on the Switch, and that sort of brings me to the end of this episode of Tom's Gaming World. I hope you've enjoyed. Apologies for having to film off the TV earlier. Basically, having to swap the setup over for video capture between this room and consoles and other consoles. It takes a lot of time, so I hope you don't mind that I just filmed some stuff off the telly here, but you can see the Switch footage I filmed using the capture device, because it's all set up in here with the Switch, like you know from last time's episode where I explained about my new Switch setup. And here we go, another issue here. The memory card is about to run out of space. Just have to charge the camera as well, but that brings us to the end of our video. So thanks so much for taking time to check it out. I hope you've enjoyed it, I hope you found it informative. Let me know if there's anything particular you'd like to see. Let me know if you'd like to see anything different in these episodes. So thanks again for watching. Until I'll see you again for another episode of Tom's Gaming World, it's goodbye and game on.